Hey everybody, Tim and Chucky here for a Star Wars review. Kind of skipping ahead just a little bit for Solo, a Star Wars tale. Came out in 2018, The Adventures of the Young Solo. So originally when I had done my outline for this, I was planning on doing Clone Wars and then jumping right into Rebels. But as I finished Clone Wars, I was like, nope, I gotta do Rebels. So Chucky has done episodes 2 and 3 with me, kind of continuing those movies, because realistically speaking, I can do a lot by myself. And so it was easier to just kind of do Clone Wars by myself because I could power through the entirety of Clone Wars in like a couple of days. So, I mean, it is what it is. So, I'm done with Clone Wars, and as I finished that, I was like, okay, so Chucky's going to be my co-host for the movies, for any live-action movies. So, as we come into Clone Wars, any thoughts? Like, as a whole, what you thought of it?
Solo?
Yes, of Solo.
I thought it was pretty good.
It was it? Okay.
I mean, it's more backstory on Han Solo. This is more shit I didn't know.
Okay. Like, how much of the legends
Do I know?
did you know? 0? Okay. And that's fine. No.
The 12 parsec thing.
Okay.
I knew of that, but...
Well, I mean, that's not even legends, but that's part of the story. But okay, I got you.
It's his legend of himself.
Yeah. So when I say legends, so Star Wars has had a weird history where they've had their history and then, like, Disney took over and they're like, nope, none of that's true. And then they redid it and stuff like that. So, for example, when they did the prequel movies, originally Han Solo was supposed to be in episode 3. And he was supposed to be like this little Tarzan kid that like Chewbacca raised. And then they got rid of that. And then they've done other histories. And then they've kind of gotten rid of those. So for this movie... one of the reasons I wanted to do this, I finished Clone Wars and I finished season 7 of Clone Wars, the newest season, the season that just came out, that came out after this movie came out, is because Clone Wars brought up the crime syndicate, the Clone Wars brought up like the main villain of this movie and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, like I feel like this is the perfect segue. Like Darth Maul is in there and everything. But this movie is actually like, I don't know, part of it is pretty good. Like Crimson Dawn, they bring up in Clone Wars, and then Crimson Dawn is in a lot of this movie. Jon Favreau plays like the little monkey character, the voice, which he's also the voice of one of the main characters in Clone Wars. He's the creator of The Mandalorian. Like, he's very heavily involved in Star Wars. The train robbery, Dryden Voss, that's the name I couldn't come up with. Dryden Voss, who's like the main villain. He's the guy with the scratches on his face. Paul Bettany, Vision. Mm-hmm. Dryden Voss has a short little cameo in Clone Wars. He doesn't talk or anything, but it's cool. So it kind of connects it because obviously he dies in this movie. So Clone Wars is obviously before this. Parts of this movie are just weird. Like the whole part where they're singing and you got the woman singing and then there's the jar in the head.
It just reminded me of Rick and Morty.
Right.
Like in every alien bar scene they've ever put in that show.
Okay.
I was like, which one's cupping which?
Nice, right. So we get stuff like that. A big chunk of this takes place on Kessel. Again, we've seen Kessel already in the Clone Wars TV show, but here we see the spice mines of Kessel and then the Kessel Run. So ever since the original series came out and Han Solo had the line of like, this is the Millennium Falcon. It did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Okay, so a parsec is a unit of measure. So if I'm like, from my house to Walmart is 6 miles. To say my Jeep can make that in 4 miles. Like, just because of your car, it doesn't change the miles. Like, it's the same mileage. And, like, a lot of people have been like, well, they meant this, or they meant that. And then this movie kind of made it seem like he took a shortcut. And then that's when, like, it was the giant, like, octopus-looking monster thing. But still, like, this movie tried to explain the whole Kessel Run. Honestly, like, this whole movie, like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't mind it. But honestly, the thing that bothered me the most about this movie is the guy that played Han Solo. Like, anytime I saw him, I never thought of Solo,
It's
like
not
Han
Harrison
Solo.
Ford.
Like, it's not Harrison Ford. Like, and that's part of the thing. If you do a prequel, like, you're always going to compare them.
You CGI young Harrison Ford.
Like, anytime I saw him, I never saw Han Solo. But Donald Glover, holy fuck. Like, he is Billy D. Williams. Like, anytime he was on the screen, I was like, that's Lando. Like, he is phenomenal. I would watch a movie
Oh my god.
just with Donald Glover as Lando. Like, I thought he did so good.
Aren't they planning on doing a Lando movie?
See, this movie, they talked about a lot of stuff, because when this movie came out, they had talked about doing a Lando, and they had talked about doing an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, and then this movie kind of bombed at the box office, and Disney, like, halted everything. And they were like, well, maybe prequels were the wrong approach. And everybody's like, it's not the prequels, it's who you cast. And so, I don't know, they've talked about with Disney Plus now, they've talked about doing TV shows for a lot of this. But I would totally be down with something with Donald Glover. Like, I thought he did phenomenal. They bring up, for Woody Harrelson's character, he's like, you pushed Aura Singh off a cliff. And he's like, well, I didn't kill her. Like,
The Fall did.
The Fall killed. Again, Aura Singh is a big part of the Clone Wars, so that was kind of interesting. L3 is probably my favorite character. Just her and her revolutionary, like, droids are people.
I found my purpose.
I found my purpose. Like she is terrific. Like, she made this whole movie. And then, like, the whole subplot of she is now in the Millennium Falcon. So now anytime I watch the original trilogy, she is the Millennium Falcon. Like, that's her personality.
Except there's no voice to
There's
it at all.
exactly, there's no voice, but her mind
Is the navigation system.
is the navigation center. So, like, anytime R2-D2's talking to her and stuff like that, like, that's who he's talking
communicating to the show.
And I'm like, oh,
That's
dude,
her.
like, that makes so much more
They're
sense.
just tying as much shit together as they can.
Yeah. And parts of it work, and that's one of the parts that really actually do work. The Kessel Run was previously 20 parsecs, but he did it in 12. Han has the line of, I have a good feeling about this. I play on the classic line of, I have a bad feeling about this, said in every single Star Wars movie. Chewbacca's age is officially given, as of this movie, he is 190 years old. 190 years old. So,
And Han Solo's supposed to be 22.
something like that. Early 20s.
I thought you looked and he's supposed to be 22.
I already forgot. But still, so Han Solo is the equivalent of Chewbacca's dog.
He's a little puppy.
Yeah, so, which, it's like that Facebook meme. I don't know if you've seen it, where, like, human beings look to elves like they're gods because they could live, like, hundreds of years, and elves just look at humans like they're dogs. Because then humans look at dogs because humans live humans live like 100 years, but dogs only live like maybe 20. So to a dog, a human is like this immortal being. And so, like, Chewbacca's just looking at Han like, oh, you're so cute, and you're only going to live
That's
a
why
few
his friend
years.
was like, oh.
Yeah, and then that's yeah. So, I don't know.
I was like, he just got pet.
So Chewbacca's basically an elf looking at Han like he's a basic human. Like, oh, you're only gonna live like a third of my lifespan,
If that.
if that.
What we do.
And then, sure enough, Episode 7 comes along, and oh, there goes Han.
Spoiler.
Spoilers. Spoiler. Oh, you don't watch Doctor Who, but oh well, that's a funny joke. We see Darth Maul in this, talking about Dathomir, who, again, for those who watch Clone Wars, Darth Maul, he's not even Darth Maul anymore, he's just Maul, is in charge of Mandalore, and he's in control of Dathomir and control of the entire crime syndicate. So that's a fantastic reference, again, combining Clone Wars. I loved the scene where Han is talking to Woody Harrelson, and Woody Harrelson's like, what are you gonna do? And Han just fucking shoots him, because it's a play on the classic, like, between Greedo and Han, who shot first. Mm-hmm. In this movie, clearly Han shot first. So I loved that kind of reference. You noticed, which I'm very proud of you, because as much as I love you as a brother, you don't pick up on actors, and that's fine. That's why we watch these together. But you picked up on Warwick Davis, his tiny 10-second cameo there at the end, and you're like, is that fucking Willow?
Dude, his face is like so specific, like no other midget on the planet looks like that.
You've seen Episode 6, obviously.
Seen that too?
He plays Warwick. He plays the Ewok that Princess Leia makes friends with.
Yeah, but he didn't look like him.
I know. That's because he was also like 12 at the time. But he was wearing, like, that was literally his first movie. Is he was wearing the Ewok suit.
He did Star Wars and then Willow?
Oh, yeah. No, he did Star Wars long before he did Willow. And then he was in Harry Potter as well. He played Professor Flitwick.
Yeah, but he looks like an elf in that.
But, so yeah, the fact that he popped up in this is legit. Been like, hey, it's been like 30 years since I've been in Star Wars, but here's a shout out. So, but still, it was kind of, I loved how you caught that, though. So that kind of made my day. And Ron Howard, the guy who directed Willow, directed this movie.
That's probably how he got Willow to come in.
Again, yeah. So it's one of those little, like, shout-outs. So that made me super happy. Like, it's one of those little things that nobody else in the world would fucking care about. But he was like, that looks like Willow. And I was like, oh my God. Like, it made literally, I don't actually particularly care for this movie.
I recognize faces.
That whole thing made it worth it. I was like, oh my God. Like, you don't even know. Like, he would have been in a Star Wars movie. It's another Ron Howard actor. I was happy. I was content.
Yeah, there was like 6 other movies I could have named him from, but I was like, whoa,
yeah, the fact that you like, and it
was like instant.
It was a 2-second thing where he's just like blah blah blah, and Chucky's just like, is that Willow? And I was like, oh my God. Like, it made the whole thing. Like, it legit. Like, those little moments are the reason why I love doing reviews with you. So it's just, you surprise me sometimes. So I loved it.
Full of surprises.
So overall, the movie kind of bombed. It did not do well. Since this movie came out, they have done the final season of Clone Wars, which tied it more because they brought Dryden Voss in there, they brought Maul back, stuff like that. I would actually not mind a sequel, whether Solo's in it or not. Like, whether it's his girlfriend, whether it's like Lando or something. Like, I wouldn't mind another movie, but I don't know. Overall, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
There's so many things they could cover, because there's all the time and space between then meeting Luke. Mm-hmm. And then you got old as fuck him when he loses the Millennium Falcon again. Mm-hmm. And they could cover all of that in a fucking another movie, but he doesn't want to fucking play Han Solo anymore.
A little bitter?
A little bitter.
I can tell.
Fuck Indiana Jones.
Nice.
Still great movies though.
But like, I don't know, I could see another one. So overall, for you, liked it, didn't like it? Okay.
I liked it. It wasn't bad.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like that's.
I had lower expectations and it exceeded them.
Okay, I feel like that's kind of the general consensus of most people I talk to. It's it's not bad. Like, it's not great, but it's not bad. So
there was nothing specific made me want to not like the movie.
It didn't wow you, but it wasn't like, fuck this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's fine. I mean, that's really realistically, that's all a movie could ask for. Like, is if you don't walk away from it being like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. Like, any crash you could walk away from, it's not bad. But okay.
Yeah.
Any thoughts? Anything you'd want to see? Anything?
I agree with the Lando sequel. Like, if they fucking cast him for that.
Oh God, Donald Glover did so.
I think it was so.
Especially that last scene where he's like playing cards and he can't cheat anymore.
He's like, you see his eyes. He's like, fuck.
Yeah, he's like,
you missing something, bud?
Yeah.
Got everything you need.
He did so good. And see, that's the thing. Like, I never watched Community. I've never seen it.
It's on Netflix now.
But, like, I've seen him in other stuff. And, like, his newest music video, what is it, Welcome to America or whatever. Like,
This is America.
This is America. Like, he's such a good actor in everything he does. But, like, I don't know. Like, I would love to see him do his own Lando movie. Like, it would be phenomenal.
He can probably fucking damn near afford it by now.
He probably could. He's
well known now.
Mm-hmm. But anything else? No? All right. So, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think of this movie. Do you guys want a sequel? Do you think it was not necessary to make this? I appreciate you guys. Thank you for everything. And I will see you guys next time for me being solo, doing the TV show of Rebels.